Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday Night Forum. We will have a couple of people joining us tonight. It will be Tony and it will be Gary a little bit later as well. Hope everybody is doing well. And listen, there's hope for this season yet. Liverpool seem to be grabbing the headlines right now. Tonight they've beaten Real Madrid 2-0, and they're on one hell of a run right now. But it is my firm belief that, and yeah, I'm going to hold out and keep this belief that they are exceeding expectations beyond even their own fans' wildest dreams. They're rolling with the same 15, 16 players, and they're riding the crest of a wave. But you never know. Football and football gods have a way of pulling you down when you're at the top as well. So Liverpool grabbing the headlines, and Arsenal are running a little bit under the radar right now. And I think Arsenal, due to the last few performances, have come through a very sticky patch indeed. They came through losses at Newcastle and Bournemouth. They came through a draw with Liverpool at the Emirates before the break. And I thought the draw at Stamford Bridge was a much improved performance. And I was quietly confident that would be continued against Nottingham Forest. And yesterday we saw Arsenal go to Sporting Lisbon and take care of business and score five goals in the process. And I remember back in the day, Thierry Henry, Robert Perez team going to Inter Milan in the San Siro and winning 5-1. And last night, I believe, was give me those kind of vibes. And Sporting Lisbon remains to be seen who they are and what they are. But they have taken apart a team such as Man City. But Gary, I don't know how to equate the whole season right now, because we've seen Pep Guardiola, do physical damage to himself through stress. Of watching this side not get a win in 5 games. So welcome to the show, Gary.
Hello, Ray, everybody in the chat, welcome. Yeah, you know what? Well, I guess you were saying a lot there, so I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to try to happily I can answer everything. I think what we saw, at least for me, I feel what we saw in the last 2 matches for Arsenal, and just us getting back into the kind of form that we were expecting to have going into this season. Yep. I think, you look at those games and you're like, yeah, this is kind of what we were expecting from us from day one, especially from Odegaard being as far as how he would contribute to the squad. I don't think we got that when the season, for that first part of the season, as much as we've gotten it in the last 2 games. From him, like having him on the pitch and what that translates to how we play. I don't think we saw that in a lot of the games to start this season. And that's what I thought we would get. So the season started off a little bit off. I think, I don't know. Yeah, started out a little bit off. As far as Pep's going through, I think, it's pretty much about, it's the cycles, the cycles come to an end sometimes. And if you don't prepare for it, it looks like what they're going through right now. I think everybody said they needed to make sure they had answers for some of their players. I don't think they expected Roger to be that player. KDB was definitely one player I think they needed to have an answer for if he is not available to them, which has been the case the last couple of seasons. Walker, another player that also they need answers. They have an answer for. Don't have a replacement for him. They thought Gundogan was going to be an answer, and that didn't work out. He's gotten older, So they're just getting older, and I think it's one of those things where you look back and you're like, if they would have kept hold of Palmer and Foden and Savinho would be maybe, some linchpins to like. It would Haaland would be probably a linchpin to like maybe, keeping the show going.
I think, Gary, that they know what's coming down the line with the 115 charges against Man City, and we sort of happened upon talking about City because of what Pep Guardiola is going through right now on the sideline, and every manager, even the best of them, can suffer a string of defeats where he doesn't seem to have the answers right now. Uh, 115 charges against that club. I think in the last, they knew it was coming. They must have known it was coming because in the last few seasons they've sold to Arsenal. They've sold Zinchenko and Jesus. They've sold, as you said, Palmer to Chelsea, and even Alvarez has gone to Spain. So there has been a concerted effort to correct the books and make the books balance out a little bit more. And due to that, they're left with, when Haaland is not firing, who's going to be that striker that's going to step in for them? Well, it's going to be, a Foden or a false nine or something like that. So as you said, their squad has aged, and they don't seem to have the answers. Of course, losing a player of the ilk of Rodri, there's no replacement for some players in the Premier League. There's no replacement for Mo Salah. We found out there's no replacement for Odegaard. There's no replacement for Bukayo Saka in the Premier League. And so that's just three of the top teams. And if Cole Palmer, some say he doesn't turn up in against the big clubs, but if Cole Palmer is not firing, Chelsea maybe struggle as well. So it's going to be a very, very interesting season. We're talking about Pep right now, and he doesn't seem to have the answers. But I think the football gods will always have a say in things, Gary, and you better be most aware of things when things are going well for you. And Liverpool are going really well right now. But guess what? They have to play Manchester City on Sunday. And to everybody, you would think Liverpool are going to walk that game easily, but it doesn't always necessarily work that way.
Yes, I'm going to say hello to everybody, then continue on with that thought. Hi, Greg Good, and welcome to the show. BX Gunner, Rosie. Hello. In regards to what we might see this weekend, I mean, I would like to see see City kind of wake up, because they've been not necessarily sleepwalking, but they've been dead for 6 games now.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the team we thought we would see. They've got quality players. They've got Haaland, they got Foden, they got Grealish. I mean, these are all players that I think should be able to contribute somehow to getting the job done. It's not work. It hasn't happened yet. I mean, you knew it wasn't happening when you looked at the score line for a lot of these games in the past when they were winning, and you looked at the names and you're like, well, that's their fullback. What's going on here? Oh, that's their kind of the defensive mid. What's going on there? Like, where are the attackers scoring? Right? They were, and that's kind of, that was, I think, like a warning sign to those attackers. Look, we need your help. We'll get a job done, but we need your help. We're not going to be there every day, right? You got Guardiola. He scored a couple of goals, I think, or scored probably 3 or 4 goals over the last month or two. That's helped them win games that they could have easily lost because they weren't scoring. So, and you know what? Those attackers have not stood up. All right, I think there's a lot of talk on the Foden chat, and where is he? Where is the
player of the season?
Player of the season. Where's this world-class player that we're all talking about? And where is he? Like, why would he? How could he do all those things last season? And some of that was without Foden, some of that was without KDB, and now this season they need him. They need him to step up, and I assume everybody expected him to. That thought he was, if he's a world-class player, that he will stand out. That's the one thing he'll do. He'll stand out no matter what, right? No matter how poor our team was, Saka stood out, right? No matter how poor Chelsea was, Palmer used to stand out, right? That's what he did last season. That's why he looked the way he did. Foden needs to stand out, and he's not doing that at all. He's just fitting in. Like, what player is standing out? I think Guardiola, for me, might be the one player that's standing out because, defensively he's been solid, and offensively he's been helping them.
Right? Yeah, I didn't see that game yesterday. They're 3-0 up, and they, PSV, was it PSV or Eindhoven, come back to draw with Man City. Feyenoord, maybe. Not quite sure.
And I don't remember that was an away match. That was an away match or a home match. I don't
No,
remember.
I was at their place at the Etihad, I
So they
believe.
lost
Yeah,
back-to-back games to teams that a year ago you wouldn't even
it
think
wouldn't have happened.
they wouldn't even be that close, right?
Yeah,
Or I guess you know what, that team really has their number, so that would have been a tough match anyways. But you didn't definitely did not expect them to go scoreless in a match, right? I think they lost four. Was it 4-0 or 4-1? But
4-0,
yeah, but
4-0. Don't
yeah,
think they even scored a goal.
yeah. When you're -4 over a 2-game stand in your city and you're not playing Champions League winners in the recent past, yeah, you got there's a problem there. And then also you got him whatever scratching his head and face. I mean, that that's a no matter what that is, it doesn't look good. Either he really is that stressed.
Yeah,
Like, why would he sign a contract if you're at that point in your mindset? Think about it. Like, he just signed like not even a week or so ago. Like, I thought going into the home match against that team that signing would
with
wake
boost.
them up and
Yeah,
they would go, all right, well, we don't have to worry about whether or not he's gonna be here or not.
yeah,
I did the total opposite. They just looked like he already left, which, like you said, might be that maybe those charges are really weighing on them.
yeah,
So
yeah. But that City, and they're playing Liverpool at the weekend, and we'll talk about the Premier League coming up as well. We'll talk about the Arsenal game, of course, yesterday. But let's look at things in the wider context, Gary. In the Champions League, we've just seen Liverpool play a decent game against Real Madrid, and maybe rode their luck a little bit, but at the end of the day, probably good value for the win, 2-0 win. If again, Mbappe missing a penalty or the goalkeeper saving a penalty, and Mo Salah, he tends to hit a penalty like that at least once a season, completely wide and crazy. But Liverpool continue to win. Man City struggling. Real Madrid, a young team with an unrecognizable Mbappe, and if Liverpool are the best in that those three teams, I think when Arsenal are playing well and in form, we can be a match for any of those teams.
since we've been able to compete with City last season, and we know what they did, and Liverpool last season, we know what they are about now. So, and we played them without some of our top players, and we were able to make it a game. All right, so
Yep.
all we can do. It sounds like what we really need to do is to stay healthy. We might, and that gives us a bet. That gives us a chance to win as opposed to stay close. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no, Liverpool. Though, if you look, like I watched, I think I had the game going on while I was watching Leeds. Mr. Tom will I was actually giving Mr. Tom as much
Leeds over the Champions League.
I had both on. On the TV, on the big TV. I had Champions League, and on my computer, I had Leeds playing. So yeah, Leeds got the little screen. Let's just say that. But I was giving Mr. Tom the play-by-play.
At the wee man screen.
The wee man. Yeah, it fit. It fit. It fit. But from what I saw in that Liverpool match, Real Madrid's defense is the only thing that kept that thing close. I mean, I think they took some balls that were heading for the goal, and defenders had to clear them off the line. I think a couple of times. So I think Liverpool was going to score if they kept that pressure on. I don't know. Mr. Tom doesn't know what that word means. He needs to take that R word and take it out of his vocabulary because he doesn't
use it for a broad context of things, right?
Like you just are negative. I'm not even negative on his squad. I actually thought I was watching it. You made it. You made the negative comment.
I think it's the wee man comment is.
Yeah. But like I said, I watched the Liverpool match, and that game could have been easily 3-0 at half. You know what I mean? Liverpool was the only team that really had a chance, I think, to score. Had more chances to score in that first half. Real Madrid is, I think, still looks a little lost. Like you would think, you've got Mbappe. All right, I know he doesn't have all of the tools with him, but he played in PSG and didn't have.
Yeah, he didn't have those
Vinny or a Rodrigo. You know what I mean? Player when they were at full strength. So. Yeah. I kind of felt like Real Madrid's second play. I think Gouye was his first attempt. He looked a little hesitant, so not ready for not ready for an Anfield opening. Like if you know what I mean, like if you're gonna give somebody a game to play, playing at Anfield, was it Anfield? Yeah, it was at Anfield,
It
right?
was. Yeah.
Like that's probably not the opening you want, especially as an attacker, right? He looked a little hesitant when he got the ball in the middle there. The days they took the ball off of him. So like any chance that he had of getting into the game through him was going to be he needed help. That's why you have Mbappe there, and he didn't. He didn't bring it today. Like the goal, the penalty kick. Like you saw the difference. Similar areas where Saka put his. So in terms of it was to the left or to the right of the to the right post.
To the right of the player, left of the keeper. Yeah.
The difference in like 2-3 feet is why his goal didn't go in.
Yeah.
He kicked the goalkeeper chose right, and the shot was off or bad and easily stopped. So Kelleher is making a name for himself. Like he'll make some money for Liverpool because I don't think he'll be there if Alisson doesn't retire.
Well, right. Alisson's not retiring on him. They brought a goalkeeper in the off season.
That's why he'll make some money for them. So.
Yeah, and Kelleher was making a name for himself last season. Alisson does tend to get injured, and it is an issue. It is an issue with Liverpool fans.
We scored as many. This time we scored as many goals as Leeds and Liverpool combined. There you go. I would say City, but now they actually did score today.
Yeah. But yeah, Kelleher is definitely making a name for himself. He will find a club eventually. I wonder if the as you say, the cycle of time is going, the wheels of change might not work out for Kelleher, because Alisson is clearly on the way, in my estimation, is clearly on the way out at Liverpool in terms of his injury record, and Kelleher might actually move on as well. So there could be a lot of change at Liverpool in the goalkeeping position. Irrespective, there could be change in terms of Mo Salah's contract, Van Dijk, and Trent. But I better stop there in case I get accused of being a Liverpool fan circle over here. So,
well, we have to catch them and beat them. So this is
we have to catch them to beat them. I think we're on a collision course. This is just my opinion, Gary. I think we're on a collision course with Liverpool. I think that they are going to come back to us. 9 points. It doesn't mean that Arsenal has to reclaim 9 points. It actually means that we have to be good, and Liverpool, fall off a little bit and drop a point here and there. That's how this thing works, right?
Yeah. If they're perfect from here on out, then there's nothing we could have done to beat them. But we have to at the least put pressure on them. So we just got to win the next one, and then the next one after that, and the next one after that, and so we finish the season.
I think the season will present collisions with Liverpool. We could meet them in the Carabao Cup at some point as well. We both have quarterfinals coming up next month. So semifinals or final could be facing off against each other. And coming back to the Champions League here, we are in a good position now. Liverpool are in a very good position with 15 points. Probably only need one more win from 3 games. So they could actually ease off their last 3 games. We're in 7th place on 10 points. Yes, Tony will say there's seven teams on 10 points right now. But if we take care of business, that means we're growing our goal difference. And we beat Monaco at home and Dinamo Zagreb at home coming up. We'll be in a commanding position in that top 8 of the Champions League. And going into the final game, you always want to know what you're going to be able to do in the final game, which is away to Girona. And Girona in 30th place right now, Dinamo Zagreb in 23rd place. But Monaco is the next key game coming up a week from now.
Both teams need to win that because both teams, we're sitting 7th, they're sitting 8th. So whoever wins that gets
a
gets
jump.
really a good control as to if they want to finish in the top 8. So Arsenal. I think you said Arsenal is playing that one at home.
We're playing the next two at home.
Next two at home, and Monaco's the next one. So,
yep.
uh, it's in your hands, Arsenal. You just got to go out there and get the win.
It's
you win
definitely
that, it'll push you. It will knock one of the competitors for a top 8 spot out of the race, and maybe push yourself even further up the table.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be a competitive game next weekend. Monaco being on 10 points with 3 games to go, I anticipated 18 points would get the deal done in the top 8 at the beginning of the season. Obviously, we can't get that, but 3 wins will get us 19 points. 2 wins and a draw might be close in terms of 17 points, but because other teams will be clamoring. But it is strange, Gary. You've got Man City down in 17th place, and you got Real Madrid in 24th place.
Yeah. And I was looking at that earlier today. Real Madrid, they play
Atalanta.
They play Brest, they play Atalanta, and they play RB Salzburg. Who is it? RB Salzburg?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, RB Salzburg. Okay, maybe I had that. Oh, okay, I thought RB Salzburg is probably shouldn't be as much as a competition for them. But the other two, Brest and Atalanta don't want to take losses. I think to them, right? So, that's going to be tough for them. It's going to be really tough for them because these teams really want to, they're either fighting for a top 8 spot or they're, fighting to, make sure they stay in the top 28, 124. So, they could be like it could be one game left in this thing, and they might be sitting on. They could be looking out on the outside, looking in.
Yeah, I mean, 24th place, right? So you're going to go from 9th down to, I think, 25th, 9th to 25th, something like that. There's 16 places. So, yeah, Real Madrid are very close to that line where they.
They're on the line. They are in relegation. They are the last team. The 24th team is there. Like they are the last one in, basically, right now. So
That's
they
crazy.
went out. If they went out, they're in. But those 3 games, only one of them is really guaranteed.
Is Salzburg.
Oh, no, sorry, it is Salzburg. And I think Salzburg is essentially 3 points behind them. So Salzburg is going to want to win that. If they were able to win that, I don't think it helps them on goal difference, but it definitely helps them on points.
So we definitely want to be. There's going to be some drama in the last round, which will be the end of January. There's going to be some drama there. Us Arsenal fans, we want to stay away from the drama and be in that top 8 position, and not drop below.
It's in our hands right now. I don't think the only way we could get knocked out if we win all of our matches is if all the other teams go scoring like crazy and beat us on goal difference because. And I think a lot of them play each other, so that might be the good thing. We only play Monaco. I know Atalanta plays a big game, and I don't know. Let's see.
Atalanta play Real Madrid next.
Yeah, so that's where I think they're going to want to win that one. But Inter, let's see who Inter has. Where is the round? Here we go. Next round of games. Inter is playing Leverkusen, so that's going to be a really tough game for them. Mm-hmm. They also play Sparta Praha, so they probably should win that one.
So yeah, as BX said, we have a fantastic route to get into that last eight, and we have to do our work later in this group. We faltered in a couple areas when we had our dodgy spell. We faltered at San Siro against Inter Milan to a penalty. We diced with death a little bit at Atalanta. We got a 0-0 draw when I think a penalty was either missed or saved by David Raya. So yeah, there's been a lot of drama even for Arsenal going through these rounds as well. We beat a pretty poor PSG team, but we did it well, and we crawled through Shakhtar Donetsk and beat them 1-0 as well. So really, what was we're going to get into it now was really what was really needed was that 5-1 win, a really resounding performance at Sporting Lisbon. Tom said Leeds scored more goals than Liverpool tonight. Yeah, a genuine statistic. That is true. The 3 times Leeds have been promoted in the second tier, the top division was won by Liverpool. Let's hope we can break that run. Have
You could,
Ederson and
yeah, it doesn't have to be that team that wears red. It could be another team
yeah,
that wears
could
red
be
as well.
true,
So,
true.
yeah.
Rosie's going to take it out. Good night, Rosie.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Good night.
Take
Have a good
care.
night.
Thanks for
Yeah.
being here. Thanks for
Yes.
stopping by. Has Ederson and Allison fallen so far? I mean, Allison's been in an injury situation. He's a good goalkeeper when he can stay fit. Ederson is struggling with the players in front of him, Gary.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's hard to look at the goalkeepers like they have to be perfect, and they're not going to be perfect, as you say, when it's leaky at the back. I mean, any goalkeeper is going to struggle when you don't have the solidity in front of you, and taking Rodri out does that.
And on Sunday, I would love both teams to lose, but that's not possible when it comes to Liverpool.
Sure. Yeah, I don't even know if I want to. Like, do I want City to win? I kind of do, even though I don't want.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
want anybody to win.
you feel really, grimy about it.
Yeah, because
Something
if
doesn't feel
Liverpool
right.
were to lose, right? Liverpool loses, it gets you closer to them, but it also keeps City close as well.
Yep.
And everybody's expecting at some point them to wake up, right?
Something's got to give, though. Something's got to give.
Yeah, I don't think their goalkeepers are the reason why they're struggling. I think it's everything.
But they're not excelling either. You know what I mean?
Liverpool is not struggling without
Allison,
right? So
true.
And their defense is pretty solid in front of him. So Konate, and I don't know if Konate got a bump today or not.
He was definitely limping off today.
What's crazy is how many times I've seen him do that. He just comes right back.
Yes.
So
until
they put him on a stretcher, I'm not going to believe that he's out for the.
He did that last game. He looked like he picked up an injury last game, and he was there ready, turning out. The drop off from Van Dijk and Konate to the next set of defenders is big. And
that's for anybody who's got that level. Like if we drop, we're going to drop considerably if we lose one of our center backs. So I think we're. As far as center back comparisons go, I think we have the top 2 in the league.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, some will say Van Dijk and Konate, and after 12 or 13 games, it's madness to say that. You've got to look at this in the entirety of the Premier League. It's a 38-game marathon. It's not a sprint.
Well, at this point, they have the better defense, so.
Point.
Right at this point, I mean, it's a full goal difference, so we'll see how that changes as the time goes on. But
DX said Slot did what other Liverpool managers couldn't do over the last 15 years and beat Madrid. I will say, the one thing that Jurgen Klopp did leave him was a good squad in good shape, and had to, because of their injuries last season, had to bring through young players. And young Bradley today, the Northern Ireland player, was their man in the match by all accounts. He was really good, principally because he was up against Mbappe, and Mbappe was bad. But I thought the player was good, showed a lot of energy. So listen, that's Liverpool. I think they're grabbing all the headlines right now, Gary. But I'm actually happy about that because we're quietly going about our business. And yesterday, Mikel Arteta picked a side. He brought back Martinelli, he brought back Declan Rice, and he brought back Kai Havertz into the lineup. And I think it was a very, very good performance. What were your thoughts on the lineup, players coming back, and the performance?
Yeah, when I saw how we performed out of the first match, I said Kai Havertz will probably most likely be back. It's Martinelli or Trossard, either one works, right? And then Jorginho It's like probably Partey would be back. We're gonna go with our strongest 11, which is what we did based on how the year has gone. I mean, yeah. So I was happy with the lineup because I that's the lineup I thought would have gone against Forest. But you know what? I always talk about rotation, and if like sometimes you rotate to the team you're playing. Like I don't think Forest. I don't think the way we played against Forest showed that they were a team that is top four like us, competing for top four. Or in our case, we're competing for the top of the league, but they're not as solid as we are based on what we've done in the past, and it showed when we were able to rotate and still actually perform the way we did. Right? A lot of people are going to say if that's Forest for you, but I think also it's been them. They might have had a bad day, but we also are improving and getting healthier and stuff like that. So our performances are getting better. We saw that in the Chelsea match, and it's only gotten better in the Forest match, and then even better today or yesterday. So no, I like the lineup. Definitely gives us a good chance to win with that lineup. Think about it, we scored across the front line. Probably, I don't know when's the last time we've done that this season, if we've ever done it this season.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've done it this season. I know Martinelli has scored and Saka has contributed, but all three of them contributing with a goal. I mean, Saka, he's a goal. That's this guy, it seems now. So, yeah, no, I like the lineup. Thought it would give us a good chance. I was concerned a little bit about Victor Gyokeres, and I think Marcus Edwards was definitely somebody who, it's like, ooh, how is that going to play out, right? Marcus Edwards, we kept quiet, and Gyokeres, we kept quiet. So they did get chances, Gyokeres, but it was a little too late.
How do we scout Gyokeres now? How do we think about him? Like he hadn't played an Arsenal team, and he goes up against Saliba and Gabriel, and as we mentioned, two of the best defenders in Europe, two of the best central defenders at our club, up against Gyokeres, and he's been turning up against a lot of teams this season, and we kept him largely quiet. Didn't really get any kind of a chance.
Yeah, I think it's like I said, we are showing where we're supposed to be. We're getting closer and closer to where we're expected to be, and if we were coming in the way we expected to be, we wouldn't have been as concerned about him even more so than because we were playing poorly. I think this is what we do when we're having a good game. Not too many strikers are having good games against us. I mean, this season, these fours, it's been even in any of the big games, nobody's been able to have a really good day. If you think about it, yes, maybe Salah scored, and maybe Haaland has scored on us, but we've had leads in those games.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So like nobody, no big attacker is having a good day against us. In reality, like who's having a good day against us? Palmer? No. Like just think of all the attackers in the league that we played. Like the one that should have had a good day didn't. That was Villa's striker.
Ollie Watkins. He missed
Watkins,
a couple, right?
He should have had a good day against us, but he couldn't finish, and that's part of the job. So
Mo Salah scoring in what was a defensive breakdown with a makeshift back four due to Saliba's.
That's no excuse. That's no excuse. That part is no excuse.
Erling Haaland scoring very early against us in what doesn't seem like that played out this season at all.
No,
it seemed so far away. It wasn't even this season. You know what I mean? But it was.
Yeah. No, I mean that goal didn't get them the lead.
Didn't no.
You know what I mean? Like
not a half time.
Like it didn't help them out. I mean, we were leading 2-1 at half. So I think we did when we are solid defensively when we're healthy, and when we have Odegaard in to kind of control, like to manage the middle. I don't think he has to do everything, but we definitely play different with him there. I don't think he has to do as much, and I kind of feel like that's not good for us. That he's the only one that can get us to play well. That's too much of a weak link in terms of if he's not having a good day or he's out like he was. That we are just that's it. Our season seems to be done in terms of like competing. So we
It's
need to be
great,
able to play. We need to be able to play without him,
yeah.
and he needs to be able to rest. Like that, he's coming back from injury. That ankle, who knows what can happen to it. And
He,
over
I
the
even
rest of the
winced. I
season.
think he got caught in the game. I think he got caught for the
He got kicked.
penalty.
He
Or
got kicked on
something,
the back of the leg.
yeah.
Definitely got kicked on the back of the leg. I don't think he was injured because when he went down, you saw him like kind of look up to see what was going on. Saw that we got the
I don't
penalty,
know.
and then
I
he
was
put his
wincing.
then he put his hand to his face afterwards.
Yeah.
With that look, I'm like, nah. You know what? I'm taking the penalty, but he just was making sure that he got the penalty because he did get. I mean, I don't think it was that hard of a kick to the back of the leg,
No.
but he definitely got him on the back of the leg, and
Yeah.
you get hit like that, you're gonna go down because
He's
that's the way the
well,
game
I'm
is.
definitely not willing to entertain Martin Odegaard to be injured for any more meaningful games this season. He's had 7 league games he missed it out in, and I think it was 12 in total. And we're not willing to have that happen. BX said Gyokeres is still a top striker, so
No, I would take him for sure. That's not. I just think we are that good of a team and that we can make you look like that.
yeah,
He was pretty quiet and had nothing to do with him.
it had a lot to
We
do
always
with
talk
that.
about like service and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It was lacking, and that definitely was true. I mean, he did get opportunities, but when you're going up against Saliba basically had him covered in most cases. You saw it early in the first half when he had a couple of breaks. He just pretty much kind of just walked the ball out and then he was able to later in the second half. Right, he did get a couple of opportunities to shoot. One was wide, and one hit the crossbar. So he's gonna get his opportunities. He needed more in this against us to make a difference, but we're solid on the defensive end. So
yeah,
we don't even have we don't even have all of our pieces right.
and it shows.
White, right? So
And it shows defensively we're getting back to basics.
yeah.
We
Well,
didn't
okay, we're
allow-
healthy. That's the only thing. That's one thing I'm going to say. We are healthy, and that makes a big difference.
We didn't concede a goal against Nottingham Forest. I think you mentioned on Sunday we didn't even concede a shot to them on Sunday or Saturday.
Definitely no shots on target for them.
And today was kind of yesterday kind of an anomaly where they did score that goal. At that point you're wondering, it gets to 3-1. What's going to happen? Who's going to get the next goal? But Saka was able
1-0, I think it was. I was waiting. I was like, "Oh, can we get to that second goal?" Because that's going to be the marker for me. 2-goal lead for Arsenal. Then I'll feel a lot better about how things are. Until because the defense has been until the defense feels a lot more solid. Yeah, 2-goal lead for me, and I'll feel good about getting the win.
My big fear for this season is we know where the highs can be, right? We know when we're playing well, we can score 5 goals, we can sort of score 6 goals. We can put up a run of wins together against the teams like in the bottom half of the table, like we did earlier this spring. When we came back from Dubai, we beat Crystal Palace 5-0, and then we went and beat Liverpool 3-1, and then continued on to put more and more pressure on Liverpool and City ahead of us at the time. But my problem is, and we've seen this season as well, our lows can be pretty low, Gary, to where we're playing like an Aston Villa from last season away from home, and Newcastle away from home last season and this season. Those are the kind of lows that we can't have now moving forward. We have to be more consistent, and where our worst performance could be a 2-1 win. You know what I mean? Or, we didn't play well, but we got the points. We can't have bad performances like we did at Newcastle, where we created next to nothing and Newcastle created one perfect goal and we lose the game. 3 points went a begging. We dropped a lot of points already this season.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say,
Yep.
In every game that we've dropped points, we've had opportunities. Yes, Newcastle's probably the worst because we didn't get as many chances, but every other
Yeah.
game, we've had chances to control the match or set the match up in our favor. Like the Bournemouth match, Martinelli scores early, scores first. We're up 1-0, even though we're down a man.
Yep.
Game's
Not that
different,
chance.
right?
Yep.
Right. Chelsea, we needed to get that second goal. Didn't do that. There's
Yeah.
many a game like the Brighton game. We get a second goal. Like I think the Brighton game, Havertz maybe has a chance to get a brace. Doesn't happen. They go down and score and tie it up. If Arteta is talking to these guys like he says he is after games and watching videos and all of that, it don't matter how bad we're playing. We're going to get an opportunity, and as a team, the mentality has to be when I get my chance, I'm putting the ball in the net.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we have the quality. We have qualities in our team that are as good as Man City on their day, as good as Liverpool have been this season. That's why I feel confident. We face Liverpool again. We will meet them in the league at Anfield. We got to be in a position where that game is meaningful. 3 games from the end of the season,
or
ahead,
or it doesn't matter.
Or it doesn't matter. I hope it doesn't matter in our favor, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the only way it doesn't matter is if it's in our favor.
And it can swing. Things can swing that way. Liverpool drop off a little bit. We boost our output of points because, after 12 games, 22 points is not enough after 12 games, and we know the next 12 games that we play, we have to get close to 30, 33 points, something like that, to add to the first 12 games. BX said we don't excel without Timber and Calafiori on the flanks, in my opinion. Timber was very good yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Especially.
I don't think we can depend on Timber and Calafiori as the only reason why we're going to win.
No.
For me, so like that, his comment, we don't excel without them. I think when Ben White comes back, Ben White's been solid when he's healthy. We know now he's not been healthy for a year and a half. So he's been, probably not 100%. So I think that's one.
Well,
I don't think I would like Skelly to get more minutes, but I don't see that happening. So let's see, the Zinchenko or Kyrgios are going to have to help us out, So we're going to have to be able to win without some players on our starting 11 to see this thing out.
So I will counter that by, obviously White is out injured and we're going to have to rely on Timber and Calafiori to get us through the next 8 to 12 games, so I would say we need Timber and Calafiori to excel as well and help us.
No, I'm not saying we don't. They're not the reason.
They're not the vital cog.
Like the comment that we don't excel without them is not, for me, true. I feel like, yes, they are integral to what we want to do, but we have answers. Like Ben White is a starter for us. At the start of the season, nobody thought much of that. Not seeing Timber there, right? So I kind of feel like that's what we want. We want to have a squad and the squad depth. So that's the only issues we have right now are Saka and Odegaard and our center backs. Really, truly, in terms of we don't have the right cover in those situations. I feel Kyrgios could definitely cover, and we know Ben White could if he's healthy. But we pretty much all our fullbacks can go in. If Tomiyasu comes back, can go in as a center back. But that's the part that's we have injuries and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like right now those are the weaknesses is the depth behind 4 of our positions on the starting.
I thought Timber did have a good game though.
No, I'm not saying they did. No, they play. I don't think anybody really like. When I look at it, I look the game back again. Like for me, I mean, if there's going to be a worse player, it's like for me, it could have been Rice.
He struggled. I wanted to mention him tonight because he was noticeably struggling, and I think that broken toe is having an effect on him. You know, he had to have gotten shots, and he's visibly struggling. You watch that back again, you'll see it on his face that he's in pain, Gary, as he's playing.
Yeah,
he's playing through the pain.
So like for me, like that's why it's either him or Partey. You know what I mean? It can't be him and Partey in this sense because I don't think him moving the ball up the pitch is something he can. I think he can play more defensively and not the toe not be as big of an issue. But when we need that kind of like you said that like he had opportunities or to get that ball into attacking areas or even to take a good shot and he just couldn't just didn't work. I don't know if it was because of the toe. Like I didn't see. I saw his face, but it was almost like, damn it, I missed that shot because he had that one shot that he took off the right hand side and just basically if you keep that on target, you give yourself a chance, and he can't even keep it on target.
I think he's got that physical anguish of where he's maybe not as fit or as well. Playing as well as he was last season. He doesn't have the confidence. He doesn't have the physical prowess yet. Due to, we talked about the beginning of our season being somewhat disjointed because of coming back from, international tournaments. Preseason wasn't perfect, and we didn't hit the ground running. We're just starting to hit the ground running now. We've missed Odegaard, but I think Declan Rice actually is struggling with an injury as well. And so you don't see the best of him. Maybe like there's 3 games, there's 3 days, 3 or 4 days between each of these games now for about 10 weeks, I believe, until the next international break, which Tony will be happy to hear isn't until March. That's a lot of football, and that's going to mean Mikel Arteta being clever in terms of letting Rice not play some games, bringing Jorginho and Partey in, as we saw.
Well, we saw that in the last one, right? Jorginho and Moreno started, so we're seeing the rotation and patterns that we probably might see going forward because that seemed to work. And West Ham is lower in the table than Nottingham Forest, so if he wanted to rest Rice and Partey, he could, and we should be able to still manage. That match. It's away. That might be the only reason why he might go with a stronger lineup. But West Ham, I think, they are struggling, right? I mean,
they are struggling, but I would not be cautious at all because although they did go to Newcastle, and win on Monday. They rode their luck a little bit. I think in any Premier League game, you got to ride your luck unless you're one of the top teams, and then you're expected to, dominate possession, dominate the game, take your chances. And West Ham definitely took their chances when it presented to them. Newcastle are strange right now. They're struggling in different ways. So they will need more points again by the time Liverpool. Because Liverpool's coming up, going to Newcastle and Everton after Man City this weekend. So there's going to be a lot going on until the new year here. And I think the new year is when we really will be taking a look at the league in terms of everyone who's played each other one time in the league. Then you get a real true sense of where the teams are. Because mentioning Nottingham Forest, I kind of feel they were in slightly false position. Yes, they got some very good results, but they haven't played all of the teams one time. And I know Nottingham Forest are coming up against City and some other teams in coming weeks as well. So I kind of felt like they were in a false position in the top 4. You're not going to say at the end of the season Nottingham Forest will be in the top 4. That would be just an anomaly,
That's why you got to kind of play that first the first 19 games because that's when you played everybody, right? I mean,
Yep.
we played most of the top half. We played pretty much everybody in the
And
top half
that's
outside of
and that's
outside of Fulham. So in the top 10, we haven't played Fulham, and they're ninth right now in the table. So we played everybody else. So like I don't know what team has played as many top 10 teams as we have in the first 12 games. We played 9 out of the top. Well, is
we
it
have
9? We played
we played
eight.
Liverpool.
Eight. Sorry,
1,
we
2,
played
3, 4, 5,
we
6,
played 8.
7, 8. Yeah.
So we played 8 in the top 10. We are one of the top 10. So Fulham is the only one we have not played, and we're playing West Ham, and then we'll play Manchester United. 2 teams in the top 14. So we will have covered. By the next 2 Premier League matches, we would have not played one team in the top 14, and that's Brentford. So we if you're going to talk about like top heavy schedule, that's it. I was looking at West Ham. I think we score 2 goals, we have a good chance to win. They when they've given up more than 2 goals, they've given up 2 goals. They haven't done well.
Okay.
I mean, they drew Everton, but the other team when they've had their wins, the other team did not even score, right? So I think that's going to be like Newcastle didn't score, and Manchester United only scored 1. So offensively, defensively, we should be fine against West Ham. Offensively, as long as we don't struggle there, we'll be all right.
Here. He's arrived. He's here. He's here.
Crap.
Fuck you, Gary. Hi, Gary.
It was going so well.
It was. We're just moving along smoothly here, and all of a sudden somebody said, "Pothole ahead."
Yeah, he's got the camera under the nose, Camera's looking up at him.
Looking down at us or whatever.
He's looking down at us in a very imperious sort of way.
Looking at these little people, and
no, that's
giant.
That's good insight, Gary. Score 2 goals against West Ham, and you can almost say we've got 3 points. Maybe we could do that in 20 or 30 minutes at the weekend as well.
Gary says 2 goals every week, right?
I don't know. You actually did not listen to what I said.
No, you want to get to the second goal to feel safe.
You want to have a 2-goal lead against everybody right now until our defense is solidified.
That's what I just said, Gary.
No, it's not what you said.
No.
But West Ham is what for West Ham. You were listening to, but West Ham
when
they give up 2 goals, they lose. So
yeah, Tony's in the spin room.
Yeah.
Tony's in the spin room trying to spin everything you say, Gary. Be careful. G'day, Crocodile Tony.
Yeah.
I've heard him say it I've heard him say it a million times. You get 2 goals, you're going to win the game.
Gary says he wants to get that second goal. The longer that Arsenal hang on at that 1-goal, 1-0 lead.
That's what I'm saying. He wants with 2 goals.
It's a cushion. Gary likes cushions.
It doesn't mean we're going to win by 2 goals, but
cushions
gives us a win. It gives us a buffer, man.
Yeah,
I know, Gary. Gary, I do 2 shows with you a week.
Tony,
I know.
Tony, cushions are nice. Cushions are soft. Cushions are warm.
Yeah.
So 2-goal cushion is even better.
Yeah,
it's better than a concussion, Tony. Which sometimes you come with at podcasts. Just kidding. Just joking. Didn't we lose last time against West Ham? We didn't. I mean, we lost at home. Away from home, we beat them.
Yeah.
6-0.
Are you talking about? Yeah, that's right. Last time we played them, we beat them handily. So
yeah, let's say corresponding fixtures. We beat them handily 6-0 at their place. Now, do we need to hand out revenge to West Ham and Fulham? Because those, as you said, Gary, those teams are coming up, and Fulham away from home will be something of a revenge game coming up because we know what happened on New Year's Eve last year. When we had a punch that knocked us sideways, and we had to win 16 out of 18 games just to get right back into contention, only to not get there at the end of the day.
We needed to win 17.
We needed to win 17, as it turned out. You're right. I hate when you're right. That way, I hate when you're right, Gary. Well, you're right also, but the table never lies. You know what I mean? We have played most of the top 10 teams, so we've had the toughest. We've had very tough opening 20 games when you take into account Inter Milan, Sporting Lisbon away, Atalanta away. There's been a lot of tough venues that we've had to go to. Liverpool have not gone away to difficult. They've had Real Madrid at home tonight. They've so football's rarely logical. I'm trying to be very logical here and thinking that the second half of the season, the tables can be flipped a little bit in our favor. So I see Tony smiling. He's just
no. I'm sitting there thinking, Ray, we play everybody twice. That's what matters. So.
I know, but home comforts are very important.
There is context to a lot of things, Tony. When you play 9 out of the top 10 teams in the table in the first 13 games, it's challenging to have them all that close. If you spread it out, it's definitely different.
No, all those teams were not in the top 10 when we played them.
No, but they are in the top 10 now.
Yeah,
so
they are top 10 teams.
So the table doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Right? Then they are top 10.
Table does not lie, Tony. Nottingham Forest in the top 10. Liverpool, City, top 10. Villa, Chelsea in the top 10. Brighton, Tottenham, Bournemouth, the list goes on and on. And we've had to go to Aston Villa away from home. We've had to go to Man City. We've had to go to Tottenham, the Toilet Bowl. We've had to go to Newcastle. Even Bournemouth is a very, very difficult game now, the way Areola has set up his team. Tiger said Rice scored against his old club and didn't celebrate. Rice has scored some very important goals for us. I feel like, as Gary and I said, he looked like he was struggling with his toe yesterday. We've had Atalanta and Inter in the top 10 as well. So those have been away from home as well. Sporting Lisbon away from home. So, Tony, it's not been easy in the Champions League either. We've played some big teams away from home in the Champions League.
Oh, that's what happens when you want to win a league or you want to win a.
You know what? The football, the internet gods got him because earlier when I said we played a really tough schedule to start the season, he had words to say. And now he had words to say. It's similar.
He's been taken off the air, Gary.
So he's been cut off. Oh.
Somebody took.
I hope it's not a power surge or something like that. But,
he does not live in Russia, but it feels like he's living in Russia and he was just taken off the air. Free speech was taken away from him, Tony.
Yeah.
I
was looking at Liverpool's schedule and it's spread out. Oh, Tony's back. What were you saying there about
we'll try this a second time, right? you want to win the Premier League, you want to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
Guess what? You have to win away and at home. You play everybody. You play everybody twice, right? So.
I understand that. The difference is sometimes
I don't care the order, right?
It doesn't matter the order.
It doesn't matter.
It does. You can't tell me it doesn't because you just said it.
Where are we setting them the table, right?
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the order of the games. It does because a lot of people are like Liverpool's not played a tough schedule and they've done what they're supposed to do is win them, right? And set them up really well. Arsenal has not had an easy schedule, so it makes it a little different. I'd rather have the points early than late, right?
Yeah, Liverpool have built up a sizable lead, in that will mean that Arsenal and the Arsenal players know it. They can't make a mistake, and in some ways, that's a good thing because we're almost feeling like we're in the second half of the season right now. Man City have done this for many, many seasons. They've sort of gone through the first couple of months walking through the league, like staggering through the league, let's say. And then the last 5 or 6 months, they need to put a run together. They did it last season in December when they were beaten by Aston Villa, and they went. I think they went unbeaten the whole way through till the end.
I don't think it's a coincidence, Ray, that Liverpool's ahead of the Premier League table and at the head of the Champions League table.
No, they are on merit. They're at the top of the Champions League table and top of the Premier League table. Jurgen Klopp, as I said, the guy has left Arne Slot with a good team, a good functional team, and they've got a match winner in Mo Salah, who can score most games and win games for you. My issue is I feel like they're playing, they're peaking early. They're peaking in these first 2-3 months of the season, and there's still 5 months to go. December, January, February, March, April, May. 5 or 6 months left to go in this thing, Tony. So, BX said, if we can finish the year strong, we can fight on all fronts till June, hopefully. So, finish the calendar year, get through a couple of games here in November, and then really hit December and continue as we look to have been in the last couple of games, Tony. So, what were your thoughts, Tony, on last night's performance in Lisbon?
Arsenal were finally clinical.
Yeah, and we could have and probably should have scored more than 5 goals, even. There was some meat on that bone still. We were clinical, we were effective, and that's how good we can be. The bad days can be Newcastle away from home or Bournemouth away from home, but this is when we can be good, and we're looking like we're coming into form and able to play formations and find players with ease in the way we were interplaying last night.
But yesterday was the goal fest for almost every fixture. Almost every team scored 6 goals.
Yes. 3-3 with Man City. What else was going on out there? Monaco, our next opponents. This is strange, Gary. It happened tonight. Monaco were they 2-0 up, leading, and were beaten 3-2 by Benfica.
All I know is at one point we were 8th. Well, we were 7th to start the day, I think, and then at one point we were 8th. I was hoping Tony would be back because he mentioned clinical, but yes, as the scores as the games were getting into the second half, I started looking at the table to see where we were and the teams that needed to win and maybe knock us out of the top spots. Villanova, Monaco, and others didn't perform. So we 3 points on the 3 points is a good thing to have in your pocket. And what is he doing?
Turn that music off. You gotta
mute yourself, Tony. You gotta mute yourself.
It happened.
You gotta mute yourself. Having the audio on is fine, but you gotta mute yourself or else you get in trouble. You know that. So,
come on, you're a professional, Tony.
So Tony said, we were clinical, but for me, those 3 goals that we scored, I don't think they are they're clinical scoring goals. I mean, the first 2 we scored were tap-ins, which is more on the build-up of the our attack than anything. We had clinical striking to start those first 2 off, right? So I think that's where the praise should be given, not being clinical. I think the crosses put in by Saka and Timber on that right-hand side gave us those first 2 goals, and then the corner coming in I believe that's Rice, right? So even though his toe might have been bothering him, he usually kicks it off from the left corner, right? So he put that corner in, and Gabriel got his head on it. So that's some will say it's our bread and butter, but I think that's like maybe our third or fourth goal of the season from a corner. So it's not like we do that every time, but our performance and our attack was really good in that sense. But as far as clinical striking, we didn't really need to be, because we put ourselves in we gave ourselves some really good opportunities. So I'm not going to say clinical striking was the reason why we won.
Just debunking everything Tony said.
That's what I do. That's what I do, especially when he says the wrong thing.
Ray, you take 13 shots, 9 are on target, 5 go in the goal. That's clinical, correct?
Listen, every match I'll take that. I will take 13 shots and more, 9 on target.
When we scored, look at the way we scored. Do you see where we scored from all of our goals?
I mean, all three of us, Gary, you and I could have been out there.
I mean, Trossard's goal, you just let it hit your chest and it goes in, right?
Yeah.
Saka took the furthest goal. Took the shot from the furthest point on the pitch and scored. So
the
for
most
me,
difficult one would have been Gabriel's header.
Yeah, but like clinical, usually means you pick the corner and you scored. Like ours were just the first 2 tap-ins. Third one, it was like you said, more difficult because Gabriel's got to get in a position and get on the end of it. Yeah, and then Trossard's wasn't easy. Is it? I
don't care if it's easy.
But you know what? Clinical striking isn't why we won.
Yeah,
Tony.
It's not like he's hitting from 18 yards out.
Clinical striking means that you took a shot from a bit of distance and put it right in the
one area was
clinical. Like Saka would be a clinical strike, right?
Yeah,
because the goalkeeper guessed right and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Right?
Being clinical is making your shots.
That's not true.
No,
that is not true. No. That is not true. No. Just making your shots from distance is clinical, and that's where we've had problems. We haven't missed shots from where Martinelli and Havertz scored today. We haven't missed those shots. We haven't even got a chance to take those shots.
He's a game late because we need to talk about Nottingham Forest as in terms of clinical shooting. Yeah. Right? A partey shot, that's clinical.
13 shots, 9 on target.
You're talking about being
on the back
Tony, you're talking about being efficient. You're using the wrong word. You need to say we were efficient.
Clinical striking doesn't mean a tap in from 2 feet. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Okay, we weren't clinical. We were highly accurate.
It's a totally different. They're different.
No, we were efficient.
It is not. No, it is not.
No, it is. It is.
We were efficient. We turned our dominance and possession into goals. That was
clinical means superior shot to goal conversion rate. When somebody's clinical, they're not tap-ins because we've already said that Haaland takes a lot of shots. None of them require him to pick a corner. He's like most of the time tapping them in, and he's just really good with his feet. But clinical striking for me isn't what I saw, and that's all. And as Ray said, we're taking that all day. But guess what? When the defense is really solid and you need to pick a corner, which is what we haven't been able to do in the games that we've lost and dropped points in. That's where the clinical striking was lacking. We didn't need to do it in this game. We had control of it, and we put like that. That cross that Newcastle got to Isak, that's because we didn't play any good defense, and that shouldn't happen.
Yeah,
that shouldn't happen. That was perfect what they did. But and against our defense, that shouldn't happen.
Goal, yeah. in any goal, you can either say defensively it was poor, we didn't do what we needed to do, or on the opposite side, you can say it was a really good, perfectly executed cross.
BX, I'm not gonna agree with you today, I guess, because clinical striking for me is not a tap in.
No, clinical is you're placing the ball where you want it to go, away from the goalkeeper and into the corner.
Was Saka's pass not clinical? Was that not?
No, you said clinical striking. You didn't say clinical, as in a sense of passing. You didn't say that. That's not what you meant. Don't even try and change it. You want to say the clinical positioning of the pass? Yes, Timber and Saka had clinical passing. Yes, they were clinical in their passing.
Clinical scoring.
You can't score with a pass. You can only score with a shot. As far as I know.
BX said, being in the right position at the right moment is part of it. Doesn't matter if you're 2 yards out or 20. You have to finish. So there's a difference between 2 yards out and 20. If you're 2 yards out, I would say you're being efficient with your possession and you're taking your chances. If you're shooting from 10, 15, 20 yards out, you pick a corner, you pick a place where the goalkeeper can't get to it, you're being clinical in your strike and where it's going. So anyway, these are the kind of little things we get hung up on the Thursday Night Forum and the Sunday show.
You guys are both wrong.
You are not right. That's the one thing you have to get in it. You're gonna have to get used to, Tony.
I don't care what the fuck you call it. Most our goals were on target.
Tony's going to be the first to say agree to disagree, which basically means you're backing out of the conversation.
All I care about, the 13 shots, 9 on target, 5 of them back in the net.
I will take 40 more games of that this season, right? And I will be like, 12 shots. Okay, we've scored 4 goals and we've had 12 shots. The next one's going to be a goal.
What is this up with this?
Because we have to hit that 13. We have to hit that 13 shot and 5 goal quota. So we're up at Anfield. We're leading 4-0.
There's games where we've shot 15 shots and only 5 are on target or 3 on target.
Yeah,
but if you only have 5 shots on target and you score all 5 of them, that's being clinical of the opportunities, right? Doesn't mean you're clinical shooting.
Doesn't
mean as Ray says, efficient, right? It does. It sometimes the reason why we need to have more shots on targets because we're not clinical with our striking. That's why. For me, anyways, if we only get 5 chances a game to score, we're gonna struggle. Closer to 10 we get, the better opportunities we have to score because we're not clinical. We haven't been anyways. We can be. We've seen it. All right. I think that I think if you give more shots to Saka on the edge and Wary on the edge there, we're gonna score more. Partey, we can't depend on that. He does that once a season, I think.
Yeah.
We might never see it again. Right. So but I think if you give some that's where I really and truly want to see a lot more shooting from Odegaard. I feel like he's facilitating a lot, and some of that's just to get the build up going. But his touch in the final third was really, 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 really good. Mm-hmm. Right, that's how he got a lot of opportunities with his nice touching that he had. I mean, he did that in the midfield. He did that in the final third. I think some of that needs to be turned into a shot opportunity for himself as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of interplay in that inside right channel. You'd like him to work a little bit more through the middle with a good through ball. Tony loves a good through ball, and he tried to hook up with Martinelli off of his left foot by lofting the ball over the top into that left wing position.
You should see me play soccer video games, right?
Soccer video games. We're talking football here.
Partey gives you a great season every other year. I hope it's this year than BX. Hope it's this year.
Football is soccer, Gary. The English came up with a term.
I'm just telling you,
Association
all I know is we
football.
play football in all of the
Well,
world. You can call it whatever you want in
And
America.
they need to play like they are training as well. You know.
Why? What they need those little tiny goals?
Well, they are clinical when it comes to tiny goals. They're clinical on the videos from Poland.
You have to translate for Gary. You can't say in training. You have to say in practice.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? You just brought it up the other day. You just brought it up yesterday, right?
I say
you just want to fight, don't you? That's what you want to do. You just want us to go back and forth all day.
He loves a bit of needle. Yeah.
Why are you bringing me into this conversation? I have nothing to do with it.
Does Gary not say practice instead of training, right?
That's Tony going in with a 2-footed challenge there.
Every time he's
Runs off the ground, Tony.
He's putting 2 shoes on and he's going in on me every time.
Another thing I was going to say, right?
You look like a mummy the way you're wrapped up there. Stripes.
Yeah. Hey, Big's got a big. Yeah.
It's ribbed, right?
So
you know what? That's a little too much information. We don't really want to know
All
what
right.
you're all about.
I didn't say it was ribbed for her pleasure.
I didn't.
Right?
I wanted you to just stop. That's kind of what I was trying to get at.
Gary was going like this.
I was trying to tell you. Oh,
Arsenal, Tony. Arsenal are in 7th place now. We're in the top 8 in the Champions League.
For now.
For now. When we win out, we stay right where we
You're
are.
supposed to mention goal difference. Right about now, you're supposed to mention goal difference with 7 teams on 10 points. You know?
We're the best team on goal difference, so it's in our control.
Yeah.
A lot of it's in our control.
Yeah. Bukayo Saka was interviewed yesterday saying he won the player of the match game award, but he really said any one of the players could have been a recipient of that award. So it was a really good performance away from home, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, even in the previous game, the Nottingham Forest game, anybody could have probably won that one. I know it was between. Everybody's going to say it's between, as we said, Odegaard, Saka, and Raya, and it was the same thing again. I think yesterday as well. You're not going to see what Odegaard does in the game, right? It's like a lot of times you don't even see the things that Partey does when he's having a really good day, right? Just because it's like 2 and 3 steps before the goal, or something. Yeah. He makes it stop really quickly, right? So I kind of feel like we are, we've got like some solid players in the midfield there. So Saka, another, a goal and an assist in in back-to-back games now, right? So he's on a roll. If you say you're going to get 2 goal contributions in back-to-back games, especially when your team's starting to come out of their funk, this is what it looks like, and that's good. So, Saka could have got it. Odegaard could have got it. I mean, I think Saliba could have got it. Saliba and Gabriel could have got it. Raya put his hands on a lot of balls, especially even late in that game.
Gabriel also did it for his celebration.
I saw that. Like my first thought is, why is he going after? That could be our future striker. But then I saw somebody clarified it, and they said, you know what? When you put it over your eyes, you're Batman. When you put it over your mouth, you're Bane. So
okay.
Take your pick. Which one you want to go for?
Or maybe he just didn't copy Gyokeres.
Well, it just the 2 inches difference sounds like he was pretty much trying to simulate what Gyokeres does. So
okay. It just looked funny because everybody thought he was clearly mimicking Gyokeres' goal
I,
celebration.
I was saying the tweet I seen where I had his reaction to Gabriel doing it.
They showed Gyokeres' reaction.
It said they asked Gyokeres what he thought of
They asked him about it. Yeah.
what they thought of Gabriel's celebration.
And what did he say?
At the end of it, he said he was glad that somebody's copying him. So.
There you go. Flattery. That was it. Imitation is the best
Flattery.
form of flattery, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
there you go.
yes. BX said, if we drop points to West Ham, all momentum goes out the window.
We drop points anytime before February. Momentum will be hurt.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work without a string of W's put together. You know what I mean? We done all those D's.
We just have to win one game, everybody. Just one. Just one game.
I've taken that on board. Gary, you've told me that the last couple of seasons. I have taken that on board. Yeah. Let's not look beyond.
The reason why I say that is we cannot bring poor performances into the next match, and that's what we've done. We've taken what we did in the previous game, we brought it right back into the next one, and we can't do that. We got to just whatever just happened, just dust it off, clean it up, and then move on to the next one. Because you know what? When our squad is deep enough, right? Arteta said it, right? He said we have practiced with 19 guys. That made a big difference in the way that he set up the squad to go into the Forest match. And if we're able to maintain that 19 player health number, right, in terms of what we're going to have, we're going to go into most games prepared to get a win. So,
Ray, you're being facetious because I know you have 90 points down as our goal, and I know you have a percentage. So that is not game by game.
Well, no, it's a target, right? And
our target is to win the league, right? Yeah. That is our target, right? Yeah. But we don't. There's no number on that.
I tell Ray that every year, but he keeps on doing it.
I mean, we have not. Only our invincible side has hit 90 points, right? We got 89 points last season. So I feel comfortable saying if we hit 90 points, we'll be top of the league. I feel comfortable saying that right now.
I saw they put a kind of a little diagram, a little picture thing up of Klopp when Klopp got his 99 points and didn't win the league, and then they showed Pep's winning point totals, and it was like everything was I think in the 80s. Like nothing was in the 90s outside of when they hit Centurions or whatever, but otherwise mid 80s to like 89 was the most they did in some of their wins. So you don't have to hit 90. If you strive for 90 and you come short, you have a good chance of winning the league. And that's kind of what that's the phrase I say as well. Shoot for the stars, hit the moon, kind of thing.
Yep.
We want to strive for perfection, but if we come up short, we're going to give ourselves a good chance to get the trophies that we want.
It's kind of like we came in 5th in the league with 75 points. That never happens, but it happened to us.
Yeah, and that was a high points threshold at the time, right? 75 points most seasons would have gotten you top 4, and we didn't make it.
Not most. Every Premier League season.
Yeah, we keep breaking records, so maybe we'll just break this record of being 11, 9 points back after 10 games or whatever, and we can see ourselves at the top. So why not? Why not?
Exactly. So listen. 90 points is the target, as Gary says. Shoot for the stars and land on the moon, something like that, right?
Yep.
And listen, I feel confident if we get that 90 points. So it's a target, Tony. But the only way you achieve that target is one step at a time, and one win at a time. And we started the process back to winning ways against Nottingham Forest, and
Oh.
we've now cemented that with a few more bricks in the Champions League.
I better go after you again, Ray. Not one step at a time. It can be one hop at a time for some of us.
Well, sometimes it can be two-stepping it, right? A hop can be two-stepping it. Bukayo Saka, he scored that penalty with, supreme confidence as well.
It was right in the side netting, man. That was
right inside the post,
yeah,
and right in the side netting.
Yep.
And again, his approach play and like you said, Gary, getting on the end of Thomas Partey's pass, and splitting the defense. Thomas Partey again with a great pass for Bukayo Saka. Ball goes through the legs, and an efficient finish from Kai Havertz and Martinelli and those two tap-ins. Not going to say clinical. Not going to say clinical. I'm going to say efficient. Tell me, you make it.
No, you got to think. You know what the crazy part is? I think Partey and Moreno both made some big passes from midfield. Rice made a long pass to Timber from midfield, right, to our wings, and they put in shots, right. Moreno actually took a long shot, sorry, but Rice and Partey put those two long passes into Timber and Saka for the goals that we scored. So that we didn't see that much. Usually, those long passes sometimes came from our back line and not from our midfield. So something's changed, right?
Yeah.
They have a lot more control from there, and we catch teams out quickly, and that's what we did both times. I mean, those crosses came in from that right-hand side, and we haven't seen something like that, I think, from our fullback and our right wing. I don't know the last time we've seen that kind of combination where they both put in got assists on crosses. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've seen that.
Yeah.
So that's something. That's where Timber, like that Timber game against Forest. That's him opening up and not only being a defensive player like Tony wants him to be, but also have shown that he can actually play in the system where guess what, he's going to have to do some offensive. He's going to have an offensive role, and he did today. He did yesterday. He got an assist, right? So, soon he'll get his shooting boots on. He'll be even better for that. So, yeah.
No.
That's the way we play. So you can say no all you want, but that's what Arteta wants. So you're going to have to just live with it and enjoy it when it happens.
Are you eating the box? Are you eating the box of biscuits, cookies, crackers? What are they?
He's not going to talk to us and tell us what he's eating. He's just going to nod.
He's got all the power, Gary. He's got all the power.
Are those cookies or biscuits? No, he's not saying anything to us. He's just looking at his hands crossed. What do we do? Are we in trouble?
That's mad.
He's rocking back and forth. That is the trouble. The trouble roll. I wouldn't say stance, but that's the trouble roll. Somebody's in trouble here. Why? Yeah. Look at it, just looking at us. Stop looking at us like that.
Remember, when I was a kid, I used to get you just wait till I get you home.
That's what he looks like right now. He's not even talking to us. What's up with that? He's probably eating so he doesn't pass out on us. But
yeah. So listen, 5-1 win Lisbon. We needed one of these performances, Gary. We had not. I think it was something like 10 or 11 games or more away from home that we'd not won in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think we had one. You said I think we had just 1-1, right? And it's been a while since we've scored 5 away as well. So all of that was good. I mean, we pretty much controlled that game, right? Um, it seemed, anyways. I'm trying to think like what our ball possession wasn't even a lot, but
It was
they
75%
did
at one time.
at one point. But it finished off with Sporting having more
It
possession.
was
So
22 years, Gary. 22.
22 games, 22 years. What are you talking about?
probably 22 years since we've scored 5.
Oh,
No, it wasn't 22 because it was two. No, it was almost 22.
San Siro.
It's like 2004, I think, was when
Yeah.
we last scored 5.
Yeah, Thierry Henry and Robert Perez, Inter Milan.
So
5-1.
What I seen said it was in 2002. So it's been 22
well, it was
years.
2004 when we scored 5 goals. So you're off by a couple years. The last time, anyways.
I'm not Gary. My sources are.
Your cookie's crumbling.
I know you. But you know what? Like it looked like we controlled that game, but like I said, Sporting had more control of the ball, but it didn't seem that way. Even when they did control the ball, I don't think they were as much of a threat to us, right? I mean, so we had like that's one of the things we've done when we're playing really well. It doesn't look like the team's gonna get much on us. They're gonna get chances, of course, but they're not gonna control that situation as much as they would like. So we did really good in that sense.
So Tony, we're in control of this group now. In terms of, we got 3 games left to go. Monaco coming up next week. Dinamo Zagreb and Girona to finish out. If we win the 3 games, we should finish in the top 8.
Depending on goal difference, right?
I guarantee you there'll be no
If we
goal
win-
difference.
We win 3 games all by 1 goal. I don't think I'm pretty much guaranteeing we're finishing the top 8.
Yeah. And
No,
without any goal
I
difference,
think.
you know?
Yeah.
Indeed.
I think
Cookie Monster Tony. I had some peanut butter chocolate chip cookies earlier.
Yeah, I went to Cheesecake Factory and they had like a chocolate ruffle cake.
This evening?
Well, I went for brunch essentially
Today?
today. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
I did do it. I did a Peloton this morning. I probably won't do it tomorrow, but I did the Peloton this morning and did nothing else until I went to brunch, and then did nothing else until, in the sense that I didn't do anything really. I'm still not doing anything, even though I'm just doing the show. But it's been when I had the day off, so I did nothing, which is what I like to do.
You watched some games, right?
I did watch
Yeah.
the games. Yeah. So Leeds sits top of the table right now.
Right.
So
Liverpool.
Mr. Tom should be happy.
There was some kind of Leeds and Liverpool link he's trying to push onto us as well. Yeah, Mr. Tom should be happy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So
Tony, where do you see the overall? We talked about this a little bit earlier with Gary. I did, but where do you see the overall context of the Champions League competition? This is a conversation we've been wanting to have for, and we have touched on it throughout the years, but the Champions League might in some ways be easier to win than the league itself in some ways, right?
It's always easier, right? Spurs, or as Gary likes to say, that team finished 1 point ahead of us, and then the following season, they were in the Champions League's final. So that team was not any better than us. Still got to the final. It's all about luck at some point.
Playing well and get a little bit of luck, right? And having quality within your team to have some moments as well. Be a moments team.
There are lots of luck involved because those draws Right, we would have won some Champions League if we didn't get Munich and Barcelona all the time.
Yeah, I would also say we had some good teams in the Champions League under Arsene Wenger, especially the last 10 years of his reign being manager. But I could honestly say that this Arsenal team, in some respects, is for all of its parts is much better than any of those Arsene
Yeah,
Wenger
but
teams.
because those had like Squasili and fucking horrible
Scalacci,
players. And that they had horrible players on there, but they played for the manager.
yeah,
Then at the end, they stopped playing for him, which was I thought it was very poor on the players because Wenger would jump in front of a train for those players,
yeah.
protecting them and stuff. It was
To protect.
very poor of them to stop playing for him, which they did.
So, and you're,
You know
and
what? But you know
you're,
what? The one thing I'll say about that is that's
yeah,
because the game has changed. The money has gotten a lot more, and players' mentalities are different now. And you need to, there's a different, sometimes a different motivation that you have to have with your players now than you did back in the days. Like we see it in all sports, right? Back in the days, coaches slapping the heads of their players with their helmets on. You can't do that anymore.
mhm.
So now you have to manage your plays a little bit different. They are more of the sometimes they get more power than you want. So that's kind of why I think the older managers and stuff kind of need to either find new ways to get on board with their players and not just expect them to just go with the old and tried and true way of managing and
And
coaching the squad.
some of that has been what Mikel Arteta has actually done, and sometimes gets bantered for. Bring in a string of lights, and illuminate the light. Um, different techniques that he was doing. Put a tweet up from Ivan Toney for when you're playing Brentford. Nice kickabout with the boys, things like that.
Do you know what you don't do, Ray? You don't hire a pickpocket.
Hey, if you're trying to get a message across to your players, you do whatever you can. If I said if you think you have to do something, you do it. And you know what? I don't know if the players got as much out of it, but you try different things. You can't just go the old tried and true way, just talking and it just clicks, So I kind of feel like he's trying different things. He is a weirdo. I'm gonna say that he is a weirdo. And you know what, people?
Oh, Mikel.
Almost.
Mikel's
Right,
a weirdo, or
Tony was
Tony's a
upside
weirdo?
down there for a second there. He's trying to like break my brain is what you're
Who's
trying
the
to do.
weirdo, Tony or Mikel?
Well, no, Arteta is the weirdo. Mikel is the weirdo. Tony was upside down for a second there, so he scared me.
You thought upside down Tony was coming at you,
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, oh no, upside down Tony.
Mourinho seems to be finding his footing and settling in. Yeah, I think it looks a lot better with Mikel Marino right now in the team. Maybe, and that's some games and some minutes needed to be had for the player to understand his teammates and to understand how best to help the team and get into the right areas of the field to make it look good, make it look right. You know what I mean? So Tony, are we one of the better teams in Europe now? Are we equipped to take on a Liverpool, Real Madrid, the City? It's very possible, right?
in the Champions League?
Yes.
I don't think so yet.
Okay. How far do you think we can go in the Champions League? Just so we get you on record for this.
Quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals again. I think we can go. I think we can go at least a step further than that. Get to the semifinal at least. This team has got enough quality in it to do that. We're not gonna have any players that scores 2 or 3 goals. We're gonna have a lot of goals that are shared around in this team. That just seems to be the way the team is constructed right now. But Any other thoughts on the Champions League games?
It was a weird day yesterday. Like I said, those teams were scoring so many goals.
Yeah, I think we're in a position, Tony, where some of those teams are desperate to play and win games, and so you get an open game. I think it might be a little bit more tense in the last round, especially where some teams are going to need to win because they're going to be right on those lines. You know what I
Because
mean?
he had Real Madrid 6-0.
When
Yeah,
Real
yesterday.
Madrid lost
they
today,
lost
Tony.
today.
Atletico.
No team won
Atletico.
6-0 though.
Atletico.
They
You said
won early.
You said Real Madrid.
Yeah, Atletico Madrid started it off with a really strong 6-0 win. You're right, but
And Atlanta won 6-1.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you have more open games right now, because there's nothing critical, there's nothing set in stone right now. So.
That Bayer Leverkusen 5-0. I mean, that was
against Salzburg.
not as many today, but still had a few.
Yeah. We should just talk real quickly about the weekend games, and then get out of here. I don't think there's any other real content to talk about. I mean, Arsenal's looking at getting a new director of football, right, to replace Edu. And by all intents and purposes, the names that are coming out are not names that would be accused of being, from the academy or former Arsenal players. So it does look like they're taking this, seriously, Gary, and trying to get the right person for the job, and not necessarily what would be accused as, somebody who Arteta would just want to pick,
Well, we have to be, with every movement or every change that we make, get better. So far, it looks like we're doing that, right? Every time we've brought in a player, they've been better than any player on the squad. So they've been knocking players down. Same thing has to happen in definitely with a sporting director or director of football, whatever their role is going to be.
Yeah.
You'd hope they're better than what we had before, because that's what we need, right? We need better than what we had before. So yeah, all the names look like, some of them look like established names or people that have been in the business for a bit and have a track record of doing things. So that's what we need. You got to make it easier for us when we start, looking at bringing in players. The thing that sucks about this whole thing is essentially you can't do anything for almost a year. It seems, like from the time that I believe they knew that Edu was going to leave long before the season started. I don't think that just happened out of the blue. That's my thought there.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he's on the books for 6 months, and the new guy won't come in for another 7 months or whatever it is, you kind of stuck. Like, it would have been nice to say, Edu is going to go, so either we just bring somebody in when we need it, like in the summer, knowing that he's going to be gone before the end of the year, and then go from there.
I said it the other day, you need them in February and March, because that's when you start negotiating with teams for the players. And you probably want the guy with the biggest Rolodex, who has the most agents and footballers.
But based on Edu's situation, I don't think it's going to happen, though, Tony, right? I mean, unless they're at the end of their contract, like Edu's on garden leave, right, for 6 months, and anybody else we bring in would be in the same boat unless it's at the end of their contract. So I kind of feel like we're stuck no matter what we do, unless
it's professional sports contracts don't matter, Gary.
Why is Adu out for? Adu can't do anything for 6 months, right? That's built. That is how that works. It's not like a football player leaves and they can start playing right away, right?
It sounds like a no compete clause that he signed that he probably should
So-
let him.
It's probably everybody, because if you let your director of football go mid-season, you're hurting your squad, and there's got to be some kind of way to protect yourself so that they don't
So,
go somewhere
is
else.
he-
Like, think about it.
Well-
If Edu left and went to
Wait,
any team in the Premier League, he could hurt us, right?
Well, I
Wait,
think
wait.
he's rumored to go to Nottingham Forest or be going to
Well,
Nottingham.
he's not going to Nottingham Forest. He's managing he's higher up on the chain, and he just happens to be one of the, like, Nottingham Forest and whoever the other team is in that window, in that group, right? In that football group. So I don't necessarily think he's directly working with Nottingham Forest on a regular basis, but still, what I'm saying is he won't be working with them until towards the end of the season, anyways, because of the garden leave. So he can't affect us in the January window. Can't help us. Can't hurt us either.
So, when are we supposed to be looking at bringing somebody in? Is it January or the summer?
Everybody I saw, like, they're not, like, the people that the contacts, they wouldn't be coming in until June.
Okay. So
Basically,
we can go into
after the window's kind of
we're gonna-
open almost.
we're gonna go into a January window with the likes of Tim Lewis and Richard Garlick, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Good old Dick. Good old Dick Garlic.
And Edu's number 2, I forgot the name of it, Ocho, whatever. I can't remember how you say his name, but
Ocho Cinco.
I don't know. I forgot his name.
I still loved how innocently but very guilty Ray put Dick Garlic up there. Like you didn't know.
I'm a completely innocent and naive person, Tony. I'm completely.
Not on that one. No, not on that one, Ray.
I've never said a bad word or done anything.
You
all.
can't pull the wool over our eyes, Ray. And you, being Irish, you've had your fair share of wool.
Yeah. Listen, I think it was a good time for Ben White. We had Timber coming. We had Calafiori coming back. Ben White needed to get the surgery, needed to go out, and hopefully he comes back at the end of January. Maybe that's the timing, right? And we're still in meaningful competitions, especially in the Carabao Cup. With Edu leaving, says that we're not. That says to me that we're not buying anyone in January. Yeah, that's very possible as well. But the club has said that Edu leaving should not and probably will not stop them from doing business. One player that did pop up on my feed was. Go ahead, Tony.
Who's gonna be doing the business then? Because you gotta have somebody bringing the players in.
Well, apparently Edu wasn't. He didn't do all of the business that Richard Lewis and Dick was part of the team that would negotiate and bring players in. I think we do need to get. I know Edu got some praise.
Come on, Ray. You just had 2 dicks there, Richard and Dick.
I know Edu did get some praise for bringing players in, such as Trossard and Declan Rice, and renegotiating contracts. But it also did seem in some ways we were not efficient enough in either selling or buying. So hopefully that's something that the club can look at and we can get more efficient at doing.
I mean, we already had a couple of years ago. We had our sporting director picked out, former player, but he was a bad boy, and bad boys can't get selected.
I think it's bad that I know exactly what Tony's going to say.
I mean, I just assume not even bring it up anymore, because as soon as that happened, it was off the table. So
right, yeah.
that's kind of how I looked at it. Tony just wants to keep bringing it up, but it's not going to happen.
But no
Not
matter
with
what, like there's so many forks in the road. No matter which road I take, there's danger ahead. With Tony,
choose your own adventure with Tony's full of cliffhangers.
which road do you take? All roads lead to Tony's house, House of Horrors, and for those of you who are not familiar, Tony does delve into history, and he has a lot of bullet points in his Excel spreadsheet.
But why can't you just call up Dennis? Why can't you call Dennis?
That is Bergkamp.
Yeah, I think he's done.
I think he would be good. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to travel, but you don't really need him to travel too much, right? He has a family and all that stuff that he wants to.
Yeah, but it's already been like 2 years into his break, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Klopp. And Klopp was like, I need a break. Then he starts as a sporting director or whatever. Job
that was crazy. And Gary mentioned earlier, the cycles in football. Pep Guardiola, he's got to be coming close to the end of his cycle with Man City. We're seeing it on the field, but will we see it officially in some context that he's going to leave the club eventually?
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp, that was a strange one.
Might be getting sacked if things don't turn around in a hurry.
Well, they're not going to sack Pep just yet. You know what I mean? It would have to get 6 more defeats, right? 6 more defeats in a row might do it. Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool, that was something that came up out of the blue as well. Not something you could have anticipated. So
yeah, but he told them at the start of the year that he was leaving. Everybody knew, and he set him up in good position. Good.
I mean, at the start of the year was February. I think it was February or January when it dropped. So they had 3 months to prepare. That's true. What about the scratches on Pep's head? We talked about it. We opened up with that one, kind of. Pep is a. If you think Arteta is a little weird, Pep might be a little bit weirder than Arteta. Maybe Arteta picked up some techniques from Pep that we're just seeing, and until Arteta wins league titles, it'll always be weird. You know what I mean? But Pep talking about like the way he's been talking in that press conference was kind of strange, and he's got all these scratches on top of his head, Tony, and on his nose. He's scratching those. To me, he's just not clipping his nails. You know what I mean? He's got a couple of sharp pieces there.
Got some hang nails. Is that what you're saying, right?
What's going on, Gary? I mean, I know we spoke about it at the start of the show, but
it's not a good look, and then the fact that he says I'm trying to harm myself as a joke.
It's not funny.
It's not funny at all. Like that's
He could have just said he was a sadist, and that would be a lot.
Well, it doesn't look good in the sense that the way that game ended, and then that you come into a interview with all those scars on your face. It'd be, initially you're like thinking, oh, it's something, the crowd maybe got into it and something. That's why he got injured. He's like, no, I did it to him myself. It's not a good look. It doesn't. I mean, we talk about how quality City is in terms of how they run their football
operations,
team, right? It doesn't look good when one of the guys at the top is doing that to himself. That means you've set him up to fail, essentially.
What do you think the players are thinking about that?
That, like I said, that's why I don't know. I mean,
when they go training and in the dressing room,
it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. I don't like. They gotta go. They're going to Anfield, right?
Third last game of the season, yeah.
Oh wait, they are going to Anfield? No, City.
Arsenal. City are going there this weekend.
Yeah, so
Sunday.
that's not a good time to go when that's just like you haven't won in 6, and you just gave up a 3-goal lead, and your manager comes out all scratched up like he's that's one of those just say no, no means no kind of thing,
Yeah.
and it's like don't hurt yourself, is also one of those things. It's just all in all, it just looks bad,
Right.
I don't know
I
how
am
else to
just
say it.
scrolling through my feed here, and Guardiola did say that he in no way intended to make light of the very serious issue of self-harm. So afterwards, he did have that realization. Maybe it was brought to his attention. Why?
I'm sure PR texting was second they heard him.
Yeah, it's like we need to make a statement here, but I think it's as Gary said, it's a very serious thing, and not to make light of it as well. It is a little bit indicative of the pressures again within the game.
It's still just a stupid fucking thing to say.
It's a dumb thing to say, and it's the fact that it happened, the fact that he's done that to himself, it seems.
Yeah. Unless it's a very strange way to try to get a reaction from his team, if that would be what he's trying to do, get a reaction from his team for Sunday. So yeah, one last thing, the officiating in the Champions League seems to be, it's refreshing, right? Because we're used to these Premier League referees, and they're not as good, Tony.
It's because it's the good old boys connection, right?
Yeah. Good old boys, and you don't have that in European football. I think you don't have the heritage or the bias of growing up in England and supporting the team, and now you've got to be a referee and be unbiased. And the whole thing about David Coote coming out as well is very disturbing. More recent allegations of texting a friend of his saying, there could be an anomaly in this game before the game even starts. And, did you get it? Did you get on that? You know what I mean? Did you, so it's all very, very weird with the Premier League. It's the referees, the Manchester referee boys, says Tiger and Gunner.
Well, you have people like Tom saying that he knows professional football players that come in and bet. So
yeah, I'm sure it's probably quite true. You can't be part of that tight knit group of referees around Manchester, Lancashire area, and Liverpool area without actually knowing some of the players as well.
I still just don't know why you don't go back to the amateur system, because that worked for you.
The amateur system for, sorry, I must have missed that.
Amateur referees, it's what they used to have. They used to not make you salary.
Well, they used to have them in the lower leagues as well. Very, very much the same way as if you want a player who's not performing at your club. Like Emil Smith-Rowe went to Germany for a couple of seasons and went to Huddersfield for a season as well, and learned by playing lower league football, which can strengthen and toughen you up in the way that maybe Premier League football can't do.
It's kind of like Gary, the NFL referees. Those guys used to not be salaried. They were just lawyers and doctors, and they refereed football for fun.
But that's not the issue, though. The issue is the accountability of the role that they have to partake in.
But it's because they're all
if they're
buddies.
not performing, they should lose their job. That's not happening.
Yeah, there's got to be some.
Like if you're evaluating the talent of your referees, and you go, they're doing good, do we keep them? Or they're doing bad, we let them go, then I get it. It doesn't even matter if they're amateurs or not. But if they're not doing a job, it definitely doesn't matter if they're an amateur or professional referee. If they're not doing a job, that's where the problem is.
But the problem is, Gary, the people that are looking ahead of them, they're referees, maybe a season or two removed, but there's the ones that's overseeing it. So it's be a good buddy.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do
Until
with
you change
amateur or
that.
not, though, Tony. That's the problem. It's not amateur referees. It's a poorly managed
System.
PGMOL. All right,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what the problem is. I mean,
As Tiger said-
it's like saying you shouldn't go out and get young players because you can't get them to play. But if the players are really good, you don't care what the age is, right? That's the thing. If the referees are really good, we don't care where they come from, how much they partake, right? The thing that the NFL does, right, is they evaluate their referees and make sure they keep the right one, to keep the best ones. When you don't keep the best ones and you just keep everybody, you don't get the best quality.
Yeah.
That's,
And what's wrong with London referees? Why is there? I think I heard it on Ars blog recently. You got the biggest, best product in the world within the Premier League. You got the best players from all over the world. You got the technology to help you, but you've got this close knit referee syndicate that are within like a 40-mile radius of Manchester. It's weird, indeed. And BX said, "Why on earth would Coventry hire Lampard?" Yeah, listen, we've seen that with Koscielny as well. Not Koscielny, but who's the guy? Company, who went to Bayern Munich. We're seeing some young, experienced managers taking big jobs as well. Stan the man's in the house. Good evening, Stan. Just as we're about to wrap things up. And one final thing, just to note, if you didn't know or already know, Pep Guardiola did not, and Man City did not win a single game in the month of November this year. So that
what is it? San Marino has more wins than City does. That was the first. It was they had more wins than Arsenal, but we were able to get a win. So
yeah.
Now we've gotten 2 wins. So trying to get that third one. So yeah, San Marino's got better wins got more wins than City. Crazy.
Stan said the jig is up. The game has lost its integrity, and it'll come out. I mean, everything comes out in the end. It'll raise its ugly head again. November isn't over just yet. Yeah, I think, but Sunday is December. Sunday is December, BX. So
Tom's composing his memoir of professional footballers and refs that come and bet.
Yeah, has Tom met any of them in the shop?
He knows for certain that professional players have placed bets, so that means they came into the shop. Right?
There you go. All right, Tony, take us out of here. I'll let you go first, and then Gary can finish up. Gary can clean up.
You're gonna leave a mess, especially all those biscuits and crackers you're eating. There's crumbs all over the place, so I can see them.
Be nice, Gary.
There's crackers stuck in the grooves.
There's not crackers stuck in the grooves. I look like a blue Sharpay in this thing.
It looked like the Michelin Man.
Thanks, Ray. Good. So anyway, with these two doing nonsense, you can come see me and the rest of the boys talk about wrestling tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. UK time.
When do you get your turkey?
When do I get my turkey?
Yeah,
I
when's
don't
your
know.
turkey time?
When somebody comes by and drops me off some turkey, right?
A nurse?
No.
Okay, I guess I'll leave it. I should leave it there. Go ahead, Tony. Finish up.
But we will be talking about Survivor Series, which that pay-per-view started on Thanksgiving Day, so we'll be talking about that. And then on Saturday, it's got an early start time. It's usually 6 Central Time, but it's going to be 5 Central Time because it goes an hour longer. So they don't want their kids and babies staying up longer. I don't know. They just went with these earlier start times since the TKO guys have taken over, the UFC guys. But anyway, Survivor Series, 5 o'clock Central, so 6 Eastern.
Survivor Series on your channel tomorrow.
Yep.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Preview tomorrow at 4, then we'll watch along at 5 on Saturday.
And who is joining you?
Russ is joining me. Alonzo may join me. And Stan, I don't know if Stan's still staying off social media or what, but we'll see.
All right, Tony. Happy Thanksgiving. Gary, happy Thanksgiving to you also.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, Ray. Happy Thanksgiving, Tony. Happy Thanksgiving to those in the chat and those who might.
I hope the Cowboys lose, Gary.
That's not nice. That's not nice at all.
His last part.
That might be the last time we get a win if we don't win. Yeah. So we'll see. We weren't supposed to win against Washington. We won. They
discovered a way to win.
So
against Washington,
we tried our hardest not to win it, and Washington tried their hardest not to win it. They did
strategy.
Better.
I still like how Gary calls them the Commandos.
Yeah, I don't call them whatever name they want to go by. But yeah, so thank you for everybody for being here. Yes, we'll be hanging out with our families and friends tomorrow, as always. Tony says, wrestling. So. Check out Tony's show where they go over. I don't know what he's watching, but check it out.
Survivor Series?
Oh, Survivor Series. Yes.
We'll
Arsenal should be. I expect Arsenal to get a win. I'm hoping it's a comfortable win, more comfortable than the one we saw against Nottingham Forest. Let's try to improve on our performances game by game.
Let's be clinical and get 9.
I guess in a way, Arsenal right now are in their own Survivor Series right now, where they need to win games to survive into the spring, right, and keep this thing moving forward. Listen, Thanksgiving. Thanks for the Thanksgiving wishes from all of you. This has been the Thursday Night Forum on Wednesday night.
Your first or second favorite team, Ray? They might be too far ahead for us to worry about Survivor Series come the start of the year because.
Well, listen, somebody's going to be dropping points on Sunday. Arsenal need to be picking up the 3 points at the London Stadium, and that's all there is for right now. As Gary says, just look at the next game. Okay, Tony, thanks for being here. Gary, thanks for being here. We'll see you all out there, and come on, the Gooners, and enjoy Thanksgiving tomorrow, and let's get 3 points on the weekend. Take care, everybody.